Hello, I'm Dr. Romie Mushtaq. I am the author of the USA Today best-selling book, The Busy Brain Cure, the 8-week plan to find focus, tame anxiety, and sleep again. Happiness is stopping to celebrate all the wins along the way with some really amazing comfort food.
Is brought to you by Podman. At Podman, we help podcast hosts manage, market, and grow their podcasts. For more info, go to trypodman.com.
Welcome. You're tuned into the Happy AF Show, your weekly ticket to a world brimming with joy, energy, and positive vibes. Are you ready to dive into stories that uplift, strategies that empower, and tips that can transform your day from blah to brilliant? Every week, we bring you the most heartwarming, inspiring tales from people just like you who turned their can'ts into cans and their dreams into plans. Whether you're commuting, working out, or just lounging at home, the Happy AF Show is your go-to source for all things happy. Together, we'll explore the corners of happiness, from the simple pleasures of everyday life to the grand gestures that make life worth living. So buckle up, dear listeners, as we embark on this joyous journey. Get ready to laugh, learn, and maybe even shed a tear or two of joy. This is the Happy AF Show, hosted by Phil Gerbyshak, ready to guide you through another incredible episode. Let's get Happy AF now. Let the show begin.
Whoa, and you love to eat, Romie. I got to hear about this. Comfort food, celebration. This sounds like my kind of show.
Absolutely. And now I'm hungry because I just had some really bland chia seed pudding this morning. And I was thinking of my favorite comfort foods in the morning. It is an Indian dish known as a paratha. It's like a fried bread that's made like from scratch at home. This ain't no like in the plastic grocery store nonsense. And you eat it with like garbanzo beans or eggs or curried potatoes. And I was just thinking, I need some proper Indian food breakfast. What's your favorite comfort food for breakfast time?
Wow. Well, first, I love Indian food too.
Yay!
So we're going to have to talk afterwards about where we can go
Yeah.
in Orlando for Indian food because
Yeah.
I love Indian food. My comfort food for breakfast is French toast and bacon. I love a nice thick
Okay.
challah French toast with
Yes.
fresh butter, fresh maple syrup that's just a little bit warmed up, and then some nice crispy bacon on the side. And down there in Orlando, I like to go to Kiki's and have
Oh,
some
yes.
breakfast there. They do a nice job.
They do. When you come to Orlando, I have some other good places to take you for breakfast, but it sounds like we're going to need to start with Indian food first.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, talking about celebrating, congratulations on making number 1 for USA Today, Romie. That's awesome.
Thank you. We hit the bestseller list. So we didn't hit number 1, but that's okay.
Oh, same thing.
The same thing, because let me tell you, actually, even bigger. It's one, we'll break down my book and why it's so important on the lifelong journey, but we made history. When you look at the publishing data, it's about a 500-to-1 ratio of a male MD or PhD getting a publishing contract compared to a woman author, and even more rare for a woman to doctor, PhD, MD, I'm an MD, to make the bestseller lists, USA Today, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, etc. So I feel, and then it's rare for a woman of South Asian descent, immigrant's daughter, English is a third language. Like, barriers were broken on behalf of the collective sisterhood, celebrating with male allies like yourself. So I think I've finally been able to say that 3 weeks in without getting too emotional, but for you just see the happiness radiating. And if I start crying, it's not because Phil made me cry. It's because I'm just so happy AF. Like,
well, I am delighted for you. It's a beautiful book. There's so much in there. It's I will say, when I first dove in, I'm like, man, this is dense. But I will tell you, I love the way you break up every section to make it easy for even someone like me to get it. So thank you very much, Dr.
You're
Romie.
really
That's
smart.
awesome.
And here's the trick for people is the stories are there because I want people to be able to see themselves in my story or the stories of the executives. But if people want to get straight to it, you just go straight to chapter 10 and you start doing the work, right? But, this book was meant to change the way doctors approach brain and mental health. And so chapters 5 through 9 had to be written with all the science in there.
Yeah, well, it's helpful because sometimes we hear a lot of anecdotes about things, and sometimes we don't get the science. And now we can bring this out, so
Yes.
I'm grateful for that. Lots of good stuff. I've got lots of notes on my printout here because I had to print some of these pages. I'm like, ooh, because you were nice enough to send me a PDF, and now I got to go get the physical copy, which is super cool.
We will send it to you. If I didn't send it to
Oh.
you, because I think we sent you the PDF before the book launched, and
That's
I
right.
will
Yep.
send an actual book to you. I got you, brother.
Deal. All right. Well, let's talk about this awesome book. So first of all, Dr. Romie, you talk about a busy brain. We got to define this first before we can go any further. So what is a busy brain?
We can't be happy if we have a busy brain. And people have a misnomer thinking busy brain is because we're busy in our lives. And that's not it at all. Busy brain is that there is a new paradigm to talk about how chronic stress is affecting our mental and physical health. And what I found in my years of research in workplace wellness as a chief wellness officer and a doctor is that high achieving professionals like you and I often work to the edge of burnout in peak performance or chronic stress. And these symptoms start to show up. You can't get your personality in the morning without a venti latte. People are going to tell you when I live while we're streaming on social media that it was a latte, but it may have been 3 energy drinks or even a prescription stimulant like Adderall or Vyvanse. And you have multiple screens open in your office in front of you and you can't focus and you're feeling anxious all day. And something that takes me 3 minutes, like shipping a book to you off of Amazon, is now going to take me 37 minutes because everything that's dinging feels like a code red emergency in my brain. And then you're like, okay, I listened to Phil and Dr. Auntie Romie today. I'm going to go stand on self-care and start week 1 of the protocol with sleep. And you put your head down on the pillow and there are like 72 warring conversations going on in your brain. So the clinical triad is adult onset ADD or ADHD, anxiety, and insomnia. And that these are not three separate diseases, but all one triad I call the busy brain. And if we don't cure it, we can end up burned out and in life-saving surgery like I did in 2010.
My goodness. Wow, that is bananas. So ADHD, insomnia, and
anxiety.
Oh my gosh. Wow, yeah. That's like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse for our health. That's horrible.
But for productivity, for entrepreneurs, for leaders in the workplace, often how many times we took. So one, I was researching the busy brain and then I came up with the protocol. And then as a doctor, we researched the protocol. So about 1,000 executives went through this protocol with a lot of the companies we partner with. And I can't tell you how many times, Phil, people were like, I thought I was just getting old and the younger kids have the energy to do this job. Or my anxiety was so bad and my doctor told me I'm just a tired mom or executive that's traveling and drinking too much and you need to quit your job. And it wasn't that at all. Like you can trade a busy brain and live on peak performance like you and I are.
There you go. That's good. Well, I took your test. Okay. I got a 69, which is actually lower than I'd hoped, but higher than I'd like. I mean, but you said 83% of people scored above a 40. Is that surprising or is that about right on, or what do you think about that?
I was surprised when we pulled the research data. There's 17,000 people took this test between December of 2020 and December of 2022. So this is pretty legitimate data. These are clients I was speaking to virtually and in person across all industries, primarily in North America, but some in European Union as well. And I was surprised because the symptoms that came up had to do with sleep and anxiety and focus. not with weight gain and other things that we were hearing were going on in the pandemic. But this is also consistent with the data that the World Health Organization, American Psychological Association says that majority of people are chronically stressed or burned out, and our jobs are to blame. And so, yeah, it is. And thank you for so candidly sharing your score, Phil, right? Because it will make other people feel brave to take it and realize they're not alone. And, you and I get to masterminds, and we don't get to meet every Friday in an incredible group of professional speakers. But when both of us drop in, like, I think the entire group saw toward the end of December before my book launch, everyone's relaxing with the holidays, and I had a busy brain. Like, I'm human. You can have periods like a book launch or a big project that's due at work where you're stressed out, but you can't live in this state. So, we got through the few weeks before and the week of book launch, and now my score is back below a 30, and that's the goal.
There you go. So below 30 is the goal, 83% above a 40. So what is the root cause of this? Like, what? Those three things are huge.
They are.
Right? They're huge.
Well, and what happens, the problem is, and why we need to fix this is because in the West, we're addicted to stimulants. We're either on large amounts of caffeine all day or prescription stimulants. So we overprescribe. Oh, listen, 1 or 2 cups, and that's a healthy cup, is normal. Like, most people are drinking 600 to 800 milligrams of caffeine between energy drinks or a couple venti lattes a day, right? So that's where I'm more concerned. And then, or they're getting prescription stimulants and it's overprescribed in America. And then you need a sedative like alcohol or a prescription sleeping or anxiety pill at night. So I call that the stimulant sedative cycle, and that will make brain inflammation worse. So busy brain is due to a specific pattern of neuroinflammation in the brain that affects an area known as the hypothalamus and your circadian rhythm, your entire biological clock that governs not only your sleep-wake cycle, but everything going on in our brains and our bodies, from our hormones to our digestion and all of that. And that's what's at the root cause of it. And so we break down the root cause in the brain shift protocol, and then we give you a treatment plan. And that's the part that I love about this, that I figured out and researched a treatment plan, like based in integrative medicine, neurology, psychiatry protocols. It's awesome sauce. It makes me happy AF just to talk about it. I don't know, other people may be watching this live going, they're that excited over research on a Monday morning, But this is a sign of an entrepreneur who's passionate about what they do, right? Like yourself.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but the people that you're helping are people like us who really, I wouldn't have thought there was a cure. I would have thought, I'm stuck here. And the fact that you said in the book, right, that not only is there a cure, but then you share the cure. I will tell you, I was, knowing you, I know this wouldn't happen, but a lot of authors will end up hooking us and then get us in their course.
Yeah. And
instead you give us all the goodies here. So let's talk about that a little bit. But before we do, we need to define two more phrases here that you have, Dr. Romie. It's brain shift and brain pause. Because I think it's super important that we talk about those, because we already talked about busy brain.
So brain shift is the name of the protocol. A brain shift in itself is a micro habit that I researched specifically, that if you do this micro habit, it would create a massive transformation in your brain, in your body, and in your well-being, right? So because things like atomic habits or tiny habits are trending, and there's thousands of them, and you're like, which ones do you do? I researched it with this caveat in mind, Phil. I was not going to put anybody on a diet. Diet actually cleanses, raise stress hormone levels. So it is now February when we're recording this. If you fell off the wagon of your New Year diet, it is okay. We're here with a plan. So, and then the brain shift protocol, the shift we'll get into it in a second, is actually an acronym that stands for the 5 key areas that we treat with the protocol to heal the burnout.
Cool. Well, let's go through those 5 key protocols, and then we'll get into the brain pause. So what are the 5 protocols in the shift?
So in brain shift, shift stands for S is sleep, circadian rhythm, which I mentioned, and that's what we start with. H is the role of hormones. And believe it or not, for men and women, specifically in busy brain, it's your thyroid hormone. I is markers of inflammation. So I look at your fasting insulin glucose levels. I look at vitamin D3. F is how we use food to fuel ourselves without going on a diet. And T is the role of technology, because we had to do the scientific research on why we got so much ADHD as adults, and our digital devices are to blame. Even though I'm mindful, like, we're using technology in such an amazing way right now, streaming live to multiple platforms. It's amazing, from 2 different cities. Where are you located, by the way?
I'm about an hour and a half from our friend John Colby. I'm in Westchester, Ohio.
Ohio. Okay. Yes. And I'm streaming live from Orlando. So, like, I don't say all digital devices are bad, but, like, we need to get them under control.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into the technology piece of that, because to your point, I think that's the one that many of us feel like we're the least empowered to do, but yet there's some little things that we can do, some little shifts that we can do. So, Romie, talk to me about that. What can I do to take control of my tech?
So in chapter 9 of the book, we actually break down a story on the research of why adults now have adult onset ADHD. One, it's you're under chronic neuroinflammation and your thyroid can be off kilter, and that can lead to intermethylation disorders. But our digital device use is making it worse. When you pick up your phone and you touch it, you're now getting a dopamine high, like a hit of, like, an addict does, like with crack or cocaine or whatever, or gambling. And then you put it down and you're like, I have FOMO. I have to check that work email. There's this need to scroll back on TikTok or Instagram again. And that's the dopamine high coming down and crashing. And then you do it again. And for high achieving professionals, we always need to be in control. So we're like, let me make sure I didn't get a work text message or a Slack message or an email. And you feel in control, and you do. But here's the problem. There's 2 things: multi-digital device use. So, like, right now I have 2 computer screens. I have laptop and a desktop here. I have multiple phones. That's the norm. That multiple device use is reducing our attention span. Then you're constantly stimulating dopamine. And then here's the worst part. We're using digital devices at night, and the light is disturbing our circadian rhythm. So 2 things are happening. We're on multiple devices all day, reducing our attention span and making ourselves more anxious and can't focus, and ADHD. And then at night, the blue light from the devices will disturb our sleep. So that is a long-winded scientific method to say we need a break from our digital devices, especially at night. And you read the story of where I was previously chief wellness officer. We put 500 of our top leaders who manage hotels that are open 24 hours, 7 days a week. We put them on digital detox, and the results were amazing. They couldn't have done better had I given them anti-anxiety medicine. I mean, that's how profound it was on their sleep and happiness at work.
Yeah. Okay. So how do what's the digital detox? So we got to shut it down at like 4:00, or what's the deal?
Oh, please. Come on. Don't do that to Auntie. Like, you're going to set the whole audience up and be like, who is this? Like,
No, I know you're not going to tell me 4:00.
No, I'm not going to tell you 4:00. I will say, if you're like my aunties, because they are the voice of my judgment and a busy brain, and we like chai breaks, if you're going to have a chai or a coffee break in the afternoon, put down the digital device and be happy with the food, right? And the drinks. But what digital detox is so you go to chapter 11 of the book, and we start you first on the 7-day sleep challenge. Once you have your score, we ask you to do that. That's cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia techniques that we put in the book. So you start with that and set a regular time to sleep and a regular time to get up. Then in week 3 of the protocol, we institute digital detox, which is 30 minutes to an hour before bedtime, no digital devices. So no TikTok, no Instagram reels, no catching up on work emails, no putting things into your CRM, no Kindles, no Netflix, none of that. And we have to find something else. And that's the key. And if you can do that without taking your digital devices to bed, it is transformative. The first 3-4 days can be anxiety provoking because you're missing that dopamine high and that FOMO is real. And then when you find something else to do, and we'll talk about some suggestions here, you and I are going to workshop this together. So Phil has a plan tonight, and we're going to workshop it. You're going to see after a few days, it's transformative.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, I forgot to mention this before, but friends, later on, after you're done listening to us, I encourage you to take the Busy Brain Cure quiz. You go to busybraincure.com. You can take the quiz. Like I said, I got a 69. 83% are over 80, but you can be better. The good news is once you understand where you
Over
are,
40,
you
over
can
40.
improve.
Yeah.
Or over 40, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yep. 83 over 40. So
Mhm.
with that, let's do workshop, Romie.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. So
Let's-
what do I do? Because
Okay.
to your point, I'm checking my Instagram, I'm looking at threads, I'm
Yeah.
reading my email.
Yeah.
What do I do instead?
Okay. So what time are you going to plan to go to bed for the next 7 days, regardless if
9:30.
or not? 9:30. Okay. We're going to keep it easy and say 9 p.m.
Okay.
No digital devices. None.
Okay. None.
So we're going to honor that you're going to have the kind of inkling of, let me just text Dr. Romie and see if she's on her device at 9 p.m. tonight, right? You're going to want to do something. And let me just do one more email because your busy brain is fooling you. If I don't email that client back now, I won't get hired. Like none of that. I'm warning you, it's going to come. Instead, the idea is these sensory pathways that go into our brain and our limbic system and then to that and modulate how we're doing and feeling is our sight, our smell, our touch, our taste, and our hearing. So engage as many senses as you can doing something that doesn't involve digital devices. So my example is I keep all my dishes in my sink all day. I work from home and I'm not traveling for speaking and consulting. And I do my dishes at night before bed. So just seeing the soap and hearing the water, it's relaxing to me. And then my dog, who's 17, he somehow rallies and finds the energy to line up at the front door and he gets an extra walk at night. And that's our decompression time. And so find an activity, a long shower, a hot bath, an actual book. I don't know. What's something that you could do that would keep you busy?
Well, the dishes for sure.
Okay.
And the smell, because usually it's a citrus smell, so I can engage that, and the tactileness.
Yes.
So that's touch too. I get that. And then then I could read a book. I could prep. Well, for me, I would prep for my next podcast interview.
There you go.
I'd read a book. There
Perfect.
we go.
There you go. I really believe in bringing actual physical books and libraries back in trend. I mean, you can see all the books behind you on your shelf, along with okay. So what is it that I'm, what type of,
you're talking about bourbon. Now the good news, okay. I drink about 2 ounces a month. I like the smell and I do like the taste. I just don't drink very often because I don't have many.
So one thing, I mean, like we're workshopping, so not from a place of judgment, but it is ideal when you do week 2 first that we do ask people to cut alcohol out completely or cut it in half if you're having more than 2 drinks a day. So we'll do that. I didn't mean to go all Indian auntie and be nosy. Like, what is on your shelf? That is a lot of bourbon. Hi. You need a cup of chai instead. Chamomile tea, no more bourbon. Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so we did that. We got week 1. We do the digital. Week 2, we got no alcohol. What do we do in week 3 here, Romie?
So week 3 is so week 1 is take the busy brain test. Week 2, 7-day sleep challenge. Week 3 is digital detox. And week 4, I love when Zoom does that, the balloons. Yay. Week 4 is brain pause. So by this time, we've reset your circadian rhythm. We have supplements we recommend in the book that you can get to that will help to calm the neuroinflammation, restore your sleep-wake cycle. Now the key is to train yourself to take a brain pause in the middle of the day and in the evening. And I think what's going to surprise people, I have been someone that has been meditating regularly since 2010 when I came out of surgery. And in chapter 5, you read about my journey with the monks in Cambodia and my yoga teacher in California. But I was teaching mindfulness and meditation early in my career at companies. And Phil, people would still come to me and be like, I can't shut off my brain. I'm failing at meditation. Like something else is going on. And that's what made me, all of us, that's what made me research the busy brain. So I researched a way during the day to take a brain pause. So let's workshop this together. Is there a task you need to do today that's really important that you focus on?
Sure. Yeah. I need to prospect for new business, of course.
Okay. Be more specific. Inside prospecting for new business.
Send out 10 emails.
Okay. Send out 10 emails. You need to do that. And I need to prep a slide deck. I'm in the lineup with a lot of professors here in Orlando tomorrow morning presenting my research. And I need to do that. So you can see we're very succinct. I need to prep a slide deck and add more research in it. You need to send 10 emails to prospects. We talk about the role of sound healing as a brain pause when you need to focus during the day. People ask me about nootropics. They ask me about all sorts of techniques in order to improve focus. Sound healing, specifically, we recommend binaural beats, but putting earphones in, and it's a different hertz in each ear, and very helpful. There are lists on Spotify, there are YouTube videos to help you with focus. And then literally it's one device and doing that one thing. So do not have your emails open or messenger channels, like for me doing a slide deck, right? Like you're not going to respond to other emails while you're just sending these 10 sales emails. So that's one thing. For people that are really anxious, we actually talk about the shaking method in the book as well. And that's how you take a brain pause. What you can see that I'm doing similar at nighttime is I'm engaging your hearing, I'm engaging your body in a way that will get you back to reduce the anxiety and get back to focus.
That sounds like something we can actually do.
Yes.
Awesome. So
right? Yeah.
I love that. So
and please know, I'm not against meditation. It's just most people who come to me with a busy brain score about 40 are like, I meditated this morning and I still got a busy brain. That used to be me. So like we needed something more. And that's the journey in chapters 5 through 9. You're reading my Shiro's journey of me finding the cure for my burnout and busy brain piecemeal and now putting it together in a protocol for you. And so that's what this is.
Awesome. And friends, if you're listening here, you can just search for binaural beats Spotify and you'll find lots of playlists that you can find. So that's awesome stuff. So let's kind of take this home here and let's talk about Project Evo a little bit, because you talk about that and you've got that research on your website at busybraincure.com. So let's talk a little bit about Project Evo and how we can leverage that to cure our busy brain.
I want us to do this in the workplace. And that's the thing. First of all, I'm so proud. I give gratitude to every Evolution Hospitality is a third-party management company for hotels. I was chief wellness officer there for the last 6 years. I'm now with Great Wolf Resorts, but I'm so grateful for every evolutionary past, present, and future. It was cutting edge. The CEO at that time, the president, I walked in and asked if I could do this research. I'm like, could we have 500 of your leaders take these stress tests, sleep tests, see how happy and energized they are at work? And we'll make it into a fun wellness challenge and ask people to do digital detox. Nothing like this had been done outside of a sleep lab back in 2017. And so what is so fascinating, again, remember, these leaders manage hotels that are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we said, look, if there's an emergency at your hotel or with the job, people are going to pick up the phone and call. And so what happened, and this is in the middle of budget season, so very busy time for them. And half the people were able to shut down their devices 1 hour before bedtime, and the other half just didn't make it. And that was good news, because as a doctor and a researcher, you now have what's known as an internal control group. So half the employees were able to do it, half wasn't, and then you could compare their data. And you'll read the results in the book were unparalleled, like really surprising. And I say this not only because it's my research, but it's been presented over and over at medical conferences, that the people that were able to do the digital detox, it was astounding improvement in reducing anxiety, improving sleep, and improving daytime energy. And they were happier at work compared to the controlled group that couldn't complete it. And the results were better than had I given Xanax or Ambien. And what was so amazing about this, Phil, and I don't know that everyone at Evolution Hospitality until they read the book even realized this, was I'm blessed to have a lot of corporate clients that call me to speak year to year, multiple events a year, and they're always curious, what new research are you doing or what's new out there in workplace wellness? So as I would present Project Evo to other companies unrelated to hospitality, like CEOs and CHROs, we'd like, really, if they could do that, we need to try this. And it created this cultural phenomenon that like other companies were shifting their culture to say, I as a leader am not going to be sending work emails and text messages late until we define what an emergency truly is. And it started to shape how other companies were thinking their digital device use. Now, I have to be honest, it all went to like heck in a handbasket during the pandemic. And so that's why this protocol and this book coming out now, I think, is a reminder of how we rework and retool. And as a chief wellness officer, that's what I work on. How are we retooling people working from home across multiple time zones, across global time zones, right? So that's kind of the next phase of the program that I deliver in keynote addresses, is helping companies overcome that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to ask you one more question here, but I just want to remind folks, if you're hearing this and you're like, holy crap, this is pretty revolutionary. First of all, it is.
It is.
Second of all, Second of all, I encourage you, friends, go to busybraincure.com, get a copy of the book, take the quiz, and get to know Dr. Romie more. There's lots of great stuff in the book that can really help you. We just scratched the surface of all this awesome research, and you can slow down your busy brain and make it more helpful for you. So, Romie, how do we get started? Give us one step or two steps that we can get started curing our busy brain. Could be something you've already shared, could be something totally new, but I'd love to hear your insights.
I'm pragmatic, right? And I'm a brain doctor. And the people you and I serve and the people that are watching us live on social media now or listening to the podcast, like I would say, you can go to drromie.com, busybraincure.com, and take the busy brain test for free. Get your brain score now where it is. I honestly think that's the first step, and get that. And you're emailed how to start the protocol as our gift to you. The week one of the protocol comes right to your inbox, right? Because look, I did the research. I was blessed with corporate clients that allowed me to do this research. We want to get it out there. I want to change and transform how we're approaching chronic stress and burnout in the workplace. Child, nobody wants to be told, eat berries, breathe. Look at another Instagram reel of puppies hugging babies. No, that does not make anybody happy. That just makes us cranky aunties.
That's funny. I love that, Romie. Well, cool. Well, go to busybraincure.com, friends. Get a copy of Dr. Romie's book. Get started. Just take the quiz. It won't take you long. It's 20 questions, super easy. Do what you can to take control of your tech and your life and your work and feel better and get your busy brain cured. Thanks so